Why is the Vatican opening the files on Hitler's Pope? Live soon. Rome UN announced that had be opening the Vatican's secret archives from the World War II papacy of Paul XII. Many wondered, why now? Papal archives traditionally are opened at least 70 years after a pope's death, meaning no one expected the secrets of Paul XII, who died in 1958, to be made accessible until 2028. By deciding to open them on May 2, 2020, Francis seems to be sending a message, though no one is quite certain just what that is. In his announcement, Francis acknowledged that the archives of Pius, who is often dubbed Hitler's Pope, may not be entirely favorable, but he claimed the Church is not afraid of history. He said Pius, whatever might be revealed in the secret archives, it remains an indisputable fact that thousands of Jewish people were pulled from their homes in Rome and taken to the concentration camps under the shadow of the Vatican. A poignant plaque, Rabbi Abraham Skorka, an Argentine rabbi and professor at this St. Joseph's University, Skorka told the Daily Beast he is not sure opening the archives will substantially modify the polemic that still rages regarding the wartime actions of Pius XII, who some Catholics claim may actually have helped save Jewish lives by not condemning Hitler publicly. But Skorka says the simple answer is promises made, promises kept. He said he'd do it. Francis, who met with a delegation from the American Jewish Committee the day after announcing the opening of the archives in Rome, lamented recent incidents as part of a climate of wickedness and fury, in which an excessive and depraved hatred is taking root. According to Skorka, what Bergoglio says is, we have to open the archives and see what really happened, and the truth must flourish in all its aspects. He's saying. Francis said he is sure that upon further study, scholars would find during periods of the greatest darkness and cruelty, the small flame lit of humanitarian initiatives, of hidden but active diplomacy. But Lorenzo Cremonesi, a member of the Vatican-appointed Commission of Catholics and Jews that, in 2000, revealed that Pius XII knew about the Holocaust as early as June 1942, cautioned against giving the Catholic Church credit for the initiatives of local churches in many countries who on their own took action to save Jews. Church machinery, he said, was something else. Pius has been stalled on the Vatican trajectory towards since Pope Benedict XVI, a German, endorsed him in 2009 and thus made him venerable. Benedict was just, some believe the opening of these archives early is a special favor to the retired Pope, whose health has been failing since he resigned in 2013. If the archives for the old group of Argentine friends that remain in close contact with the current Pope, Pius' reputation seems of lesser interest than that of Francis. And Benedict's legate, another of Bergoglio's old friends from Buenos Aires, Alberto Zimmerman, head of interreligious dialogue for the Umbrella Association of Jewish Organizations in Argentina, said that Francis had decided upon this risky course for the Church not having seen any of the classified documents himself. We could find anything there, Zimmerman told the Daily Beast, invoking the Pope's willingness to undertake any challenge. For decades, scholars studying the World War II Pope's actions have argued that the Vatican did nothing to stop the atrocities, and while some Catholics tout Pius' secret diplomacy, many Jews see it quite differently. Rabbi David Rosen, the International Director of Interreligious Affairs for the American Jewish Committee, who has advocated for the archives opening for more than 30 years, and who met with Pope Francis last week, said that there was only the greatest respect and collaboration between Jewish groups and the Vatican team now cataloging the documents. But in the end, for the Catholic Church, he made a tactical decision he thought would be best, Rosen says. For Jews, Rosen specified that there are questions of historical facts still lacking in clarity, including instructions emitted from the Vatican, areas where Pius XII may have been directly involved, and information transmitted and actions taken, not necessarily by the Pope but by other agencies of the Vatican. The same Jewish group that met Francis in Rome last week has, for years, pressured the Vatican to reveal what many assume will be Paul XII's blind eye to the atrocities that unfolded under the reign of both Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini during his papacy. In a recent radio interview, David Kurtzer, author of The Pope and Mussolini, likened the Church's approach to the atrocities of the Holocaust to those of the clerical sex abuse scandal now ravaging the Church's reputation. In this case maybe there's some parallel to the more recent pederasty sex scandal in the Church, Kurtzer said. The perspective of the Kurtzer told the Daily Beast that he would be among the first to visit the archives. He believes pious opening the archives will not satisfy everyone. I think they will hide a lot of things, says Cremonesi, a special envoy for the Italian daily Corriere della Sera and an expert on Vatican-Jewish relations. We know that pious, explaining the Church's indifference to the genocide of European Jewry, Cremonesi said, Pius really believed that the only good Jew was a converted Jew. Rabbi Israel Zali, the chief rabbi of Rome, who famously survived the war under Vatican protection and later converted to Catholicism, was the paragon for pious, Cremonesi says. Perfection. While it will take a year for the Vatican to catalogue the hundreds of thousands of documents, there is still worry that the Vatican won't be entirely upfront. The entire archive. Many countries that had diplomatic relations with the Holy See during World War II have already made those documents available. Now, scholars, we know the attitude of the Church, Cremonesi said, using as an example the 1904 encounter between Pius X and Theodor Herzl, the founder of Zionism, who described the meeting in a detailed diary entry. When you go to the Vatican to look it up, there's nothing, Cremonesi said, chuckling. No little note, I put my hands in fire, he says if there is anything annoying in those papers, the Vatican will not reveal it. Skorka noted that Francis, 82, the first non-European pope, grew up in the melting pot of Buenos Aires, with Jewish friends from childhood. He recalled that for people like him and me, who believe in the God of Israel, it means the Holocaust was an attempt to destroy this God on earth, Skorka said. Pope Francis' decision to open the Vatican archive, Skorka implied, is an attempt to restore that God for humanity. Barbie Latzinado reported from Rome. No guitar, no pole.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.